Hey everybody, this is Mike with Free Roaming Hiker, and today I'm talking to you about Two-Bit Peak. This is a great little hike found in the Phoenix Mountains Preserve, and it frequently gets overshadowed by Camelback and Piestawa peaks nearby. And though it is smaller, it still packs in a fun and challenging hike to its summit. While I was living in Phoenix, it was one of my go-to hikes for a quick but steep workout. It can be accessed from numerous trails that are in the Phoenix Mountains Preserve, but it's easiest to access it from the 40th Street trailhead. And the trail immediately starts heading south down a large and rough and rocky trail, which kind of appears like it could have been more of 40th Street itself before the preserve was actually in place. On your left, you'll start to see some peaks right away and in the distance, while the large valley sprawls out ahead and to the right. There are numerous trails to explore throughout the preserve, so if you have the time and energy, it's highly recommended that you do. But for this hike, you'll connect with one of the trails, the 100 trail, at about roughly 0.4 miles in. Shortly after that junction, the trail will become a little bit steeper, a little rockier, and it'll start to narrow as it gains elevation. As you start to get some great views overlooking the valleys and out toward Piestawa Peak in the distance, the trail makes a sharp cut into the mountain and begins climbing up a steep series of switchbacks. The climb itself is beautiful. As you begin to climb, you're immersed in just classic Sonoran desert vegetation like saguaros, palo verde trees, and barrel cactus. The switchbacks are pretty relentless as they just keep climbing higher and higher, but the plus side to that is the views just get better and better looking out into the west. The trail finally reaches a saddle. Two-Bit Peak is up to the left and a smaller peak is off to the right. And looking out east, you get this fantastic view of Camelback Mountain just a relatively short distance away. Now, if you're not an avid hiker, you, like many other people, will find this view to be perfectly satisfactory, and you can head down from here. For those wanting to reach the actual summit, you have two options at this point. There's one trail that heads off a little bit farther left, and it wraps around the summit, and it's a little bit longer, but it's also a lot more scenic, while the trail that forks off from that and heads directly up the peak is obviously a lot steeper, but it's also a lot quicker. My personal recommendation is to take one up and then take the other down just to get the best of both worlds. From the summit, you have beautiful, expansive views of Scottsdale and beyond, just stretching out into the distance as far as the eye can see. And also Camelback, you still see rising in the distance. You get some fantastic views of that rising up out of the urban development. When you're ready, head back down. And since this trail is only 1.5 miles, if you have the time and energy, like I mentioned, feel free to do one of the other trails and explore the preserve a little bit more. Most of the trails, especially that 100 trail, don't really gain a whole lot of elevation until you start getting farther to the other side of the valley. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful or even inspiring, please like and subscribe so that you can discover some other trails that I discuss and post on here. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to do so in the comments down below. And if you want a more detailed description of the hike, I have a post on my website at freeroaminghiker.com linked down in the description. So thank you for watching and happy trails.